Hello, I'm Small Wisdom, and this is my very first YouTube video, and I hope you like it. Among some other stuff, I'm going to provide you on this channel with Go videos, basic lessons about Go's reviews, other game commentaries, and yeah, I'm German, and I'm playing Go for 6 or 7 years now. In my best times, I was 3 down, even 5 down on KGS, but I'm not as good right now. I had quite a lot of work lately, and I'm tired of making a lot of mistakes. Yeah, it's quite difficult, but I hope I can teach you some basic knowledge relatively well. Okay, this lecture is about common mistakes of 22 players to beginner level players. And if you're around this level, I hope you can find those mistakes in your game and improve, trying to avoid the mistakes. So what are those common mistakes beginner level players make? Well, not only those beginner level players, also stronger players and even down players make those common mistakes. However, beginner level players do them very frequently. I divided this lecture into 3 parts. The first part is the mistake about playing near strengths. The second is about making bad shape, and I found games where especially empty triangles were frequently made. And the third is about using rest potential in a certain position is used inefficient. Here, aji. This is Japanese, this means taste, so it's some bad taste lying somewhere. And kesu means to delete or to vanish. So aji keshi means to the deletion process of some bad taste in a certain position. So rest potential which is not used efficient. Okay, let's go over the parts. Playing close to strengths. Example 1. Okay, let's talk about this example. Black has a very strong group on the left side. It has already 2 eyes, so it's completely alive. Okay, so what is Black doing here now? Let's see. Black plays here, very near to his own strong group. This stone doesn't really help this group because it doesn't need any help anymore. It's already alive, so there's no need to make another eye. Black gets a very little few points here and a little better chance to reduce his area, which is slightly weak. So it's playing at a slightly weak place on white side, but it's still much too near to their own strengths. Why is this bad, or why shouldn't you do this to play near a strong place, a strong area? It's because now in this case white could just ignore this, for example, because it's not as threatening, for example, as if black would invade here something, or at least going much deeper. Or doing something else, for example, like this. Now this would threaten something, and white would need to escape, like this, for example. And then black could keep on attacking, and while attacking the stones, making this area much smaller for white. So white would have to choose whether to help these stones or to try to make some territory here. But this is hard because here's still a defect. Even if white tries to close in this territory, black still has possibilities to reduce this area in some way. For example, going here. Now if white tries to disconnect this, black now has many options to just deal with it. For example, directly cut here, then go out. Now this is black. If black can play, could capture 2 stones. So white needs to do something, whether to Atari here or capture this black stone. For example, if white captures, now black could whether capture here 4 stones or Atari here. It's all good for black. Okay, for example, like this. So white can't really cut here because everything else. This is also just sacrificing those 4 stones. So white would need to defend these stones in some way, for example Atari or play here, but then black can always capture the 2 stones. Sorry, for example like this. So it's very difficult because of the defect to do something. That's when black is playing near weakness. This weakness or this weakness from white. This cut or those 2 lone stones. Which is much more efficient than just to play here. Now white has a chance, for example, to just fix one of the problems. Playing like this, or even trying to develop this huge center area. Like this, and now threatening to invade here somewhere. Black can take a lot of points in the corner, okay, but then, for example, white would threaten to make a huge center framework, which may lead to some points. Okay, so this is pretty much a wasted move at this time. At least even black could go some further into this area. For example, this can't be captured at all. Well, white could try to disconnect, okay, but it's very simple to see that black could whether capture directly or even play here, because now we can see how this strong group already helps a lot. Black doesn't have to worry about the stones. So black could run out with the cutting stones. Doesn't need to worry white is attacking this those group. For example, like this. No, this is too simple. In this case, black would just capture the 3 stones. But if white tries to Atari here and surround this group, surely white can play here, and now black has 2 floating groups. But now, for example, if black plays here, and even again, doesn't matter that this group is surrounded because it's already live. Black doesn't have to worry. Instead, black now can capture those 2 stones in a net. Okay? And you can even try to read that black can even go here, for example, like this. This cut is very hard to answer for white. Also, for example, if it's like this, though, again we have the problem that this stone or those stones will be captured. That's again very similar. Or if white tries something like this, and now here black can easily connect under. If white tries this again, now white has 2 problems: those stones and these 4 stones. Maybe the best, or not the best, maybe the most resistant way to try to separate black might be like this. But this is also very thin for white. So still black could do something like this, for example, and here connect under like this. Or if white tries to do something like this, now again we have the same situation as before. It's another variation is white would try to do something like this, but still black can connect under because White can't do this. Now it's in Atari. Can't play here because get captured. And here also just gets captured. Okay. So it's all the same as before. We already know this. Good. So Black has a chance to go in deeper already because he is very strong here. So this move, and just to prepare another move to go in something deeper, is not worth the 2 moves it needs instead of 1 move. Okay, so but I still think Black should do something like this to separate the two weak groups. Now here there are a lot of options. For example, still White. We've already seen that White has hard time to keep this territory. Maybe White would try to at least make this group stronger. And now Black could, for example, whether try to make a large territory framework here, or even attack like this, and now White has a really hard time to build any of those points, which White could try to get like this. Playing close to strengths. Example 2. Example 2. Let's look at this. White has 2 separated groups, but those 5 stones, which are separating them, which are the cutting stones, are in Atari, so White can capture them. So White does this, which is very good. Now this group is very strong, but still the black stones here are still very strong. Here's 1 eye, and here is of course at least space for 1 more eye, right? So, but what is Black doing here now? He's recapturing this 1 stone. But this is not doing much. This is very inefficient. Because even if Black manages to reduce the eye shape here and make everything, for example, this eye folds, then White still could just ignore here, because even if Black tries to do something here, now there's not really much Black can do, because this group has still a lot of liberties. For example, like this, and now Black would have need to fill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 outside liberties. Now we can easily see that this wouldn't do much. Okay, for 1, 2, 3 person, for example, like this. Now White could already save those stones. Black is very dead. Okay. So, and even if Black tries to do something like this, it doesn't really matter, right? For example, here, and now White could also already capture. So, could even just ignore all this and play another move, because it has a lot of liberties. Good. So, but instead of this, if this is too complicated, White could also just do this. And here you can easily see that Black can really do nothing here. So White got just a free move. Playing close to strength. Example 3. Okay, this is example 3. Here on the left side you can see a very strong Black group. There are some small defects here, but they don't affect the life and death of these stones so much. Black has here a lot of eye potential, and can also run out in the center. So there's not much danger at all. Now White is playing here, which is way too near to the Black strands. It's even so less threatening that Black could just ignore this. for example, play here on the right side. Now, this doesn't work because there's a ladder. And even if white tries to run out, black could say, okay, I don't mind. For example, just connect here. And now white has to play again, because if black gets to play here at A, then all those stones get surrounded and eventually captured. So white would have to play again. Now black has another free move, again center, to play, for example like this. And here you can see white exchanged those 3 moves to those 3 black stones. This exchange, well, it did give black this little bit ugly shape, but still black could connect solidly now, which wasn't solid before. So those 2 stones got a little bit stronger. And on the right side, now black has potential here. Black has potential here, here, and here. And at least 2 of this area have a good chance to turn into points. While white only got a few points here on the left side. So this exchange isn't good for white at all. Now, okay, white played extremely close to black's strengths, so black could even ignore. But let's say this white stone would threaten something. Then black could still say, okay, I will just capture it. Then this is still a bad exchange for white. And even in cases where your opponent plays near strands and you can't capture it, you can still get some benefit out of it. Let's for example say black would answer this move by a move on the bottom side. Here white has a large potential to build, but still here there's no points. Sure, black would try to reduce, but if he reduces, if you try to reduce and play too near to this white group, for example like this, now white can attack this. White might not be able to capture this, but at least it's very hard. But for example, while black destroyed a lot of white's potential, white could also destroy some of the black potential. And even this bottom side now, there's much less points to build for black than if black would just play a little bit more moderate, for example here. Now this is, here are maybe more points in the end. And still white is reduced here a lot, and now black has also a chance to build points here in the center. So this is more efficient than trying to be greedy and play something like this. This would make white very happy. So please try to avoid playing near strengths. Try to avoid playing near opponent's strengths, like this, and also try to avoid playing near your own strengths, like in the example before, because that was just waste your move. Okay, now let's talk about the second part. Making bad shape. Example 1. Okay, this is the second part. And here I want to talk about that you should avoid trying to make bad shape without need. Okay, especially empty triangles are made very frequently by beginner level players. For example, in this case, white plays here, and black wants to make this corner larger, and black wants to block here to avoid white getting in. Surely, instead of this, black could also, for example, Atari here, and do something and get out the outside for the loss here. However, black wanted to just keep those points. Well, okay, so black should just block here. and then white has to come back or will get captured. Doesn't matter if white Atari is here, because then black gets either of those two. So white has to come back, and now black can make a little bit better shape. This is much more solid, strong for black than this one, which happened in the game. Yes. Exactly. Okay, sorry. So white played here, and now black played this move. Now, whether white could go in directly and then black has to play again not to get Atari and then lose everything. Or white could just play somewhere else and later use the move to the thread to connect at A by, for example, invading here, which is now still difficult. Oh, I'm sorry, still difficult, but it's much easier than if black has this formation. Now white would just get killed here inside. There's not much white can do here. For example, like this, and now there's nothing. So try to avoid playing an empty triangle because you're a little bit frightened what would happen if white cuts or something. If there's really no other chance, even stronger players play this empty triangle. And sometimes strong players also play to fight, to just gain 1 or 2 liberties and have accepting to have a bad shape, but then to gain something else in compensation while fighting. However, here black just gains nothing for it. So this is very bad. So try to avoid playing like this. Making bad shape, example 2. Okay, this is example 2. Here, white has, this group is relatively strong. Relatively. And white plays here, and now black, instead of maintaining a good connection and a better shape, black is doing this, which creates 2 empty triangles at once. And if you really have to, there's no choice, and you have to keep the group weak, that it doesn't capture your stone or something, then it's good. But this white group is not weak, or it's hard to attack at all. And also, what white did here was very good. He separates his black stones. So this white group is not weak at all, and just this black group is now in big trouble. Okay. So white should have here cut, but didn't play here. Maybe black, maybe white sword. While that could be problematic, because, for example, something like this, and sword maybe I'm getting surrounded myself. But then, of course, white could capture the stones. And in case of black trying to live somewhere, to make more liberties, then, for example, white could also just easily get out with this group. Atari first here, and then with a double Atari. Well, double Atari maybe not so good because of this, but for example, just like this. And then black having more trouble than with this group than white with this group. Okay, so white should have cut, in my opinion. However, played here. Well, I think the idea is to separate those two groups from each other. And maybe get a little bit ice space. But if one wants to do this, it's not a good idea to do this in an empty triangle shape. Although it just it robs black of the possibility to make a good shape, well, part of a good shape here. But in this case, white increases his own liberties, and also, for example, looks with one or two eyes into the corner of black, so can easily dive in or play outside and close black in, so seal black into the corner. So I think the reasoning, but I don't understand very well, and you should, if you play like this, have a really good reason for this. Everything else should be really worse than playing this empty triangle. Should be really an exception to play. However, I see 20Q players and weaker to make this empty triangle a lot. So be careful about this. It's really just doesn't give you much more liberties, and it's usually very inefficient. Making bad shape. Example 3. Okay, here's my third example. How a 20Q player, or in this case a 21Q player, makes an empty triangle. For I don't understand the reasoning very well. Okay. What should black do here to fix problems in the shape? There are a lot of options black could do. For example, fix at least one of the cuts, or like this, or like this. This gets black a lot of already makes black much stronger. Or sometimes you can do something like this if you want to increase potential on both sides. But this is not as strong in the shape, but still it has possibilities to make really good shape. Or you can say, well, I still want to keep white from getting a lot of potential at the top side, and try to keep white down to at least the fourth row. Then you could play something like this, but this is also still thin. So, but what you definitely shouldn't do is what black did here. Play this empty triangle. Now, if white just plays here, how it was played in the game, now you can directly see those cuts are now a really big danger for black. And white ends up in a very cramped shape, and is extremely busy to fix his problems. Even white could play more aggressively, even, I think. For example, like this, and surely white has defects, but black has problems to use them because of this bad shape. For example, like this. Now black is dead. So, however, white was a bit afraid of this and played, well, a little bit slower, but very stable, also very stable shape moves. And now you can already see black feels very bad about this empty triangle and fixed this. And so in the end, white just gained a lot of points. Black is cramped here and slow and small. And white is very happy. Having center now can play somewhere. So please avoid playing this empty triangle shape if you don't have a real good reason for it. If you have, then feel free to play it. Then it might be the best move, or at least you have a good idea behind it. But really try to think over it well. Don't play, in general, don't play moves without reason. But when it comes to bad shape, make yourself be really assured about what you're doing. Because once you make a bad shape and you didn't thought about it well, then it can cost you the game in an instant. Okay, hope it helped a little bit, and let's go on. Let's move on to part 3. Ajikeshi, example 1. Okay, this is part 3. This is about Aji and how to use it efficiently, or show how to use it inefficiently. Okay, if you remember the situation where black played the slow move, here I showed that white has some moves, something like A or B, but there's an even better move, and which white played here, which is very good. Okay, let's see. So white played here, which is Atari, and with this Atari he captures those stones. Black tries to keep the stones, but it doesn't work. Okay, so it wasn't good for black to make this group even larger here. But what I want to talk about now is not just this. Now we can see black has 1, 2 liberties here, and white has 1, 2, 3 liberties here. Okay, so whenever black plays one of those 3 points, this is center for black. So, for example, if you play 3, then white has to play again, and black could make this area a little bit stronger and gain points for himself. Okay, that's what black did here, and I think this is way too early. This is more like an endgame type of move. Endgame type of move, and it gains just a few points. Black should better wait. Why should black wait? Because this move here at 3, it's center, yes, it's okay, but the problem with the center move is that it loses at least 1 co-thread. You sometimes might think, well, here's not a co, only here maybe at B1. Okay, and that is so small that doesn't matter right now. And or you may say, yeah, in my games I try to avoid co's or something. But first, you shouldn't just avoid co's just because you don't like them. But there's another problem. When you have a co on board, then it's definitely helpful. But it's even helpful when you don't have a co on the board. Sometimes you find a variation you could play, but then it's co, and then when you did play moves, something like here, K18, then you don't have the threat anymore, and then you feel regretful about this. Okay, so you shouldn't do this. This is one thing. And another problem is that when black does this group here loses liberties. Okay, so black plays here. Now white is forced to remove one of those black liberties, but the liberties are really useful. Okay, and what black does next is even worse. Playing at J90 now, and this move doesn't help black a lot. So this is definitely not a good timing. Much later in the endgame, he can still do this if he needs to. However, we can see those two liberties are quite valuable. Just for example, what if black later it happens here, he happens to fight or something. So black is invading here, and then a big fight occurs in this area. Therefore, for example, things like if black gets this move, for example, white isn't able to cut here. That's because black still has two liberties. Yeah. Here, Atari, and white is dead. Okay, so that would be a big disaster. So those two liberties are useful. Of course, you could say, well, right now white wouldn't do this, would just whether connect here or even capture, or playing this one. Yes, it's all true, of course, but it all depends on what later happens. This possibility that white can't cut there here already limits white in some decisions. So if their fight later breaks out, then this is very uncomfortable for white. So try not to reduce those possibilities, this bad RG, bad taste, too early. Okay, this is what it's called education. Okay, then let's move on to example 2. Ajikeshi, example 2. Okay, let's look at this last example. White here plays t11 and forces black to fix the shape problems black had. Here, black is very happy to do this. So white plays a center move, but now white has very less chances to do something in the corner, bigger than just playing endgame move from m17. So now still white has to fix here, and this exchange A to B helps white just slightly bit here, and black a lot in the corner, as we will see. For example, if the game would be, for example, just simple like this, and just for example, here would be a Joseki and black would, for example, play here, then yeah, white, for example, could threaten to live in the corner or to cut at A. So, for example, if black doesn't want white to live, then white could cut. And now, if black does this, white could cut again. And now do this. And now white threatens to capture black already, so this won't help. So only move black can play is this. And now white could Atari and play like this. And now you can see that this, to make an eye here, doesn't, well, there's already an eye, doesn't help black to gain any liberties. And black can't run out, so it only could try to capture. But then you can see white has here 2 liberties and here 2 liberties. And this move here is centered. So black has to recapture, and then this is Atari against the whole group. And black will die here. Okay, there's also no chance for black to ignore this and, for example, Atari himself. Then, for example, like this. Okay, but you can already see black is an Atari. So after this move, so you could say, yeah, I capture, but white's just faster. Okay, good. So If black just tries to do something like this, now if black comes here, there's still a lot of RG, and white might whether connect big under or live. There's still the problems of this cut. If black tries something like this, and there's still this problem. Okay, so it's really not a good idea to force your opponent to fix his problems. Okay, keep this in mind. In general, it's not bad to force something, but it's bad to force something when you are not sure if you could use the position with the RG left better later. Only if you're really sure that you have no way how to gain more, then you should force. Okay, and or if you really have to, you have no other chance, you have to force not to die yourself or get a bad result. Then you can also play forcing move. Quite common with something like, for example, like Pipe or something. Yeah, like say something like this. Now, this would often force black to connect. Then a single stone here could be helpful, but black would also be very happy to get the stone stronger. So you should always be really assured if you want to take the center and help your opponent with it or not. Does a move here help yourself more or black more? And in this case, black is really happy. So be really careful here with your center moves. Okay, let's sum up what we have learned today. First, do not play neither too close to your own strong area nor near your opponent's strong area. Second, avoid empty triangles if you do not have a very good reason behind it. And finally, avoid using the RG if the outcome does not favor you, or if you might be able to make a better use of it at a later stage of the game. Okay, thank you for watching my video. Please leave a comment if you like it or not. Share it, like it if you like it, and then subscribe if you like what I'm doing here. You can just subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, and what is the most important? Please enjoy playing Go. Okay, see you next time.